Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this the first 2026 meeting of the Audit and Standards Committee on Tuesday, the 3rd of February 2026. I'm not sponsored by Coca-Cola. It's like the football when they do the press conferences. I'm not sponsored, but that's up here on the desk with me. Yeah, just to advise you, a fire drill is not expected, but obviously if there is one, which is not expected, we gather outside Lloyd's on the other side of the road. Please can we make sure all mobile phones are turned off or set to silent. I've finally, after 6 years, got a new phone, so hopefully it doesn't go off. It is on silent at the minute. This meeting has been recorded. I believe the last Audit and Standards meeting was also recorded as well. And the good news is, because we're on the right-hand side of the room, everyone will be seen on the camera, because my understanding is this side, the camera doesn't work, whereas on this side it does work. So hopefully everyone will be seen, which is good. Can I welcome everyone in the public gallery as well? Thank you very much for attending. And can I also give a warm welcome to Anthony Morgan, who's joining us today as a cooperative member. And this is Anthony's first meeting of Audit and Standards. And yeah, welcome, Anthony, to this meeting. I hope you find it a very enjoyable experience. And I hope that obviously encourage you to ask any questions you like, because that's what we're all here to do, to scrutinise, to find out things. So in terms of apologies then, do we have any apologies this evening? No? Okay, no apologies? Okay. So we've not had apologies from Councillor Bull. Is Councillor Wright's here, isn't he? Yeah, Councillor Wright. And there's one more, isn't there? Who is it? Oh, okay, so we've not heard from Councillor Jenkins or Councillor Bull, and Councillor Wright's here. It's just his silence down there. Right. So the minutes of the last meeting, held on the 25th of November 2025, Jamie's anniversary, which is now, yeah, wow, it's gone by so fast. I keep on mentioning it, but yeah, it's been such a long time since 2021, hasn't it? Crikey. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Wow. So yeah, I'm happy to move the minutes from the 25th of November if I have a second for that. Thank you, Councillor Brown. And we'll just move that straight to the vote, won't we? Yeah. Okay. So all those in favour of the minutes. Thank you very much. I believe that is unanimous. Thank you. Right. Item 4 is declarations of interest. Do we have any changes or updates to the declarations of interest? No. Okay. Brilliant. Right. Item number 5, public consultation. I don't think we have any members of the public speaking tonight, but they would have obviously had 3 minutes if they did. Item number 6 is the Treasury Management Update, which I believe is Andrew, is that right? Yeah, so I'll hand over to Andrew now to give us the Treasury Management Update for 25-26.
Sorry about this. So the Treasury Management Update is a quarterly report on what the status of the council is since for the period between October and December 2025. It gives information about the state of the finances, how we've been doing on investments, what borrowing we have undertaken, what borrowing we're planning to undertake, and all these figures are as of the 31st of December. So if things in international monetary situations have changed since then, we are not taking that into consideration. We are doing it as of the 31st of December. There is also another update to Treasury Management Practice 5. I know in the last meeting we had an update on this. The last update was to allow people we were doing a restructure, and it was due to the timing of the restructure. There are 2. The last update was to allow people who are about to be moved into the changed in the finance structure to do their job. This update is to reflect the current naming conventions. As you may notice as well, my job title has changed since our last meeting, and there have been other changes within the finance team as part of this restructure. My job title now is Treasury and Technical Business Partner. From your perspective, I will still be doing these reports to you, and I'll still be giving you the same advice. My job to you will not change, just the name of my position. Other than that, the only thing in here which is to be noted is In 7.4, we have the external borrowing of the maturity profile. I will point out we are planning in the near future to do a lot of short-term borrowing rather than long-term borrowing. The reason for this is because the interest rates, what we can borrow at, which is not affected by Bank of England rates, but by the gilts rate, is quite a lot higher in the long period than we would like. So we're doing short-term borrowing with the expectation when that borrowing ends to re-borrow to continue. What this will mean is the prudential indicator, which is based on how much borrowing and when it is going to occur, is going to flag up, and we are potentially going to breach it. And the reason for that is because of it is financially best for the council, in our opinion. There is a risk that when we need to re-borrow, the interest rates have risen to, say, 10%, which would be remarkably high, we would be in a worse situation. However, the advice we are getting from our Treasury advisors, external advisors, MUFG and elsewhere, is the rates are likely to come down in the next few years, and therefore if we re-borrow for the remainder of the period, we should get a better rate than if we didn't. But I will admit there is a risk there due to the fact of not fixing it in. What this prudential indicator is not, I will remind you, is not a fix, as in the council makes the decision of where those limits are, and I recommend to you, which will be in one of the later reports, next year's recommendations for it. It is a recommendation for you, so you have a warning sign of when this could be an issue. This is not to say if we breach this limit, we will be fined or punished in any way. This is a thing of you should know, and we should be able to give you a reason why we're doing it. If you are not satisfied with that, please challenge the officers. The recommendation of this is to note the report and recommend to Council the change to Treasury Management Practice 5 for 2025-26. Any questions?
Thanks very much, Andrew. Do we have any questions for Andrew? Yeah, that's fine. Do we have any questions whilst Councillor Smith looks through his paperwork? No? Okay. Well, so yeah, Councillor Smith, are you ready? Thank you.
I'll look at the details, but I know the gist of what I'm asking. My question is around investments and our policies for investments. I've been contacted by a resident about ethical investments. So I was wondering what policies do we have on ethical investments?
So the council has a very, I'm going to say broad, because ethical investment policies from SIPFA, which is environmental, social and governmental ESG policies, is I assume the one you're talking about, which is how we invest. We don't have we have a policy of we have certain places we are restricted from investing with from your advice. For example, weapons manufacturers is a place we cannot borrow with. There is also in the treasury management practices, there are restrictions of certain countries we cannot go with, but from an ESG, environment, social and government position, there isn't, from a SIPFA perspective, a very robust policy. What we have is one which is more of a guideline, which says if we find something which breaches our values, we will investigate it, and if need be, start to divest. So end investments with those as quickly as we can without causing financial hardship to the council. So obviously, if we've got a fixed investment, it is a contract. Those are restricted of when we can get out. But what we won't do is then, once that contract's over, that investment's over, invest back with those organisations. I can't give you hard examples what these are, because it is partly because of the officer's determination, but we generally don't invest with any. The most people we invest with is money market funds, and we do ask them to be ethical. local authorities, and the banks. And whilst we know that whoever we invest with, there might be they invest with someone and invest with someone, and down the lines that gets to someone who you wouldn't be happy with. We haven't got the ability, and I don't think anyone really has the ability to do that level of investigations of all the investments which our counterparties and their counterparties have, if that answers your question.
Sort of, I mean, can we specify countries that we don't want to invest in? I mean, are we in control of that? Other than a list of countries that are banned from investments in, do we have other countries that we could, or other avenues to block investment in specific countries?
So in I think it's Treasury Management Practice 1, it says which countries we can invest with. There is somewhere in there which we say we will invest with these countries. You can tell me and change that if you want to say we cannot invest with Wales. I'm going to use them as an example. I would highly recommend we invest with Wales. I'm not going to use examples of countries which you should or shouldn't. That is for the council to determine. However, what is quite difficult is, unless it is obviously like the bank of insert country here, when you're talking about an international company, we don't do much with international companies, but if we were, it gets a little bit more tricky. For example, HSBC, are you talking about the UK side of this? Are you talking about the other areas where it is invested and stuff like that? So it does get a bit more tricky with international companies, but we do try to limit it to UK sterling transactions and also places which we are comfortable and our Treasury advisors are comfortable investing with. But
if I may, I would like to actually specify the country I do have concerns about, and it is Israel. I might get some stick about saying that, but I feel like they're continuing to bomb people in Gaza. I find their government is just reprehensible. I find them awful, and they're occupying lands in the West Bank, and basically oppressing the Palestinians. So if we could maybe find out if we've got any investments in Israel or Israeli fresh produce, that's the sort of thing I'd like to avoid if we can, personally.
I will. So, and this is in the next report. This is in 5.4 on approved countries to invest. It's on page 105 of your report. The countries we currently have are Australia, Denmark, Germany, Netherlands, Norway, Singapore, Sweden, Switzerland, Canada, Finland, USA, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Belgium, France, and of course the UK. This is a list of countries we can invest with. We are currently not investing in most of those. I would say we have borrowing with France, and most of our investments are UK based as of now.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for that comprehensive list. Reminds me of a song that I heard many, many years ago, that does. But yeah, thanks, Andrew. Do we have any other questions? Yeah, you know which one I mean. Yeah. It's a cartoon, isn't it? I think, yes. That's it. Thank you. Yes. There we go. Yeah, showing our age now. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Councillor Smith. Do we have any other questions for Andrew on item number 6? No. Okay, so I'm going to move the recommendations to item 6. A, that the Treasury Management Report for 25-26 be noted, for quarter 3 that is, and the update to the Treasury Management Practices TMP5 be approved. So I'm going to move those recommendations. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Smith, thank you. Okay, I'll move to the vote then. All those in favour of the recommendations? And I believe that is unanimous. Thanks so much, folks. Right, we now move to item number 7, which is Treasury Management Practices 2026-27, which again I believe is a report from Andrew.
Okay, this is the Treasury Management Practices are the internal rules of what the officers can and cannot do. It includes, for example, Treasury Management Practice 5, which we've just changed for last year, but the update for next year, of who can invest in the council, The majority of officers at the council, based on this, and the constitution is linked to this, cannot invest or borrow on behalf of the council without these permissions. This is part of the reason why in Treasury Management Practice 5, it mentions that if the majority of finance aren't there, the secondary authority would then go to the strategic directors level and chief executive. But the majority of the case for borrowing investments, it will be either myself as the Treasury and Technical Business Partner or the Procure to Pay Officer. The other important ones to pay attention to is Treasury TMP1. This is the limits which we can go with individual counterparties investing. We have set these will not trigger anything if we breach them. Although, as you know, as from the April report, if we do a breach, we are supposed to inform you of a breach. The one which happened in April was where the bank temporarily had slightly over £10 million in the bank for one day, so I informed you of that breach. That is the nature of these. We will not be fined, we will not get any punishment from counterparties if we breach these, but it is to inform you of what we think is a sensible level to allow us to have a healthy investment environment, to invest the money securely, to reduce costs long term, whilst giving you warning signs of if we breach these and something went wrong, you should be at least informed that we are doing this counter to them. The advice is on this report is to recommend them to go to council. This report should be an annual one, but obviously parts of it, like we've just seen, may be updated if changes are needed throughout the year.
Thank you, Andrew. And yeah, can I say thank you to Andrew as well, because I think as he mentioned earlier when he met with myself and Councillor Brown, in terms of reporting these breaches, I think transparency is very important. So I appreciate Andrew, bringing that to our attention so that when these things do happen, he makes it clear to everyone what's going on. Does anyone have any questions for Andrew regards item 7? No, okay, right. I shall move the recommendations up to point 2 then, that A, the TMPs, the updated TMPs be noted, and it be recommended to Council that the updated TMPs be approved. Do I have a seconder for those recommendations? Councillor Brown, Councillor Cooper, thank you very much. Right, I'll move straight to the vote then. So all those in favour of moving those recommendations? I believe that is unanimous. Brilliant. Thanks so much, folks. Right, item number 8 is the Treasury Management Strategy Statement, TMSS 2026-27, which I believe is Andrew again. Thank you. Thanks, Andrew.
This is the final of the reports from me tonight. This is another compulsory report. This is required by statute and by CIFA. It is a plan of the overall investment plans for next year. For example, capital, how are we going to fund our capital programme? How have we funded our capital programme for 24-25? Because obviously you see the budgets through the capital programme. This will show you, and there are slight differences here, because the capital programme includes grant funding, revenue funding and stuff like this. Whilst it will mention the full capital programme in here and split between HRA and non-HRA, the overall thing is how much has been borrowed and how are we funding that borrowing. I have slightly changed some of the wording to remove the word external borrowing from certain areas because it was confusing, because with our capital programme, we might have a capital programme which has net financing need of, for example, this year, 24.48 million. Whether we were borrowing 24.48 million this year can be different externally. If we're not borrowing it externally, we're using internal reserves to fund it, which we have been doing recently because it has been more financially, like the interest rates are too high to go external, as I have mentioned multiple times in the last year to you. Other than that, it has the investment strategy. None of this has really changed from last year's, other than with updating the figures where like budgets have changed and stuff like this. The things to really note with the capital programme, which We are now as a council, getting towards the end of the major constructions of Grayson Place and Bedworth Physical Activity Hub, as well as some others. This means in the future, we are planning to reduce the amount of capital programme needed and therefore how much is being funded by borrowing. This does not mean that the amount we have already internally borrowed can't be externally borrowed, but it does mean that it will also hopefully mean that we have less expenditure from a revenue perspective. I know that's not normally my care, but it will mean we have less expenditure there, which means that we should be spending less money and hopefully have more to invest. There is also a point of the sorry, just getting to the right point. It also has, as was mentioned, the approved countries. We think, and it also has a copy of TMP1. Although we have just approved it in there, they normally bundle together because the counterparties who we can invest with directly affect the rest of the strategy, so they're normally combined for that. Yes, it is a long document, I realise, but we've got information there, a bit from our Treasury advisors, a bit from what's happened, and a bit of what we planned. The recommendation is to send this to council for them to approve it. Have you got any questions?
Thanks so much, Andrew. Do we have any questions for Andrew? No? Okay. Thanks very much, Andrew. I shall move those recommendations at point 2. It be recommended to council that the Treasury Management Strategy Statement, including all prudential indicators, the MRP policy and annual investment strategy, be approved. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Smith, thank you very much. Right, I'll move to the vote then. Item number 8. All those in favour? Yes. I think that is unanimous. Thanks so much, folks. Right, we now come on to item number 9, Constitution Updates, report from the Constitution Review Working Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The report in front of you is a report with the outcome from the Constitution Working Group that met on the 2nd of December, and it considers a range of items, and it's on this report for the Audit and Standards Committee to consider approving these to recommend to Council for approval. The first one being the number of signatures required to move a motion. Desktop research was undertaken, which is contained in Table 1 at paragraph 4.2.1. And the recommendation is one councillor and one seconder to move a motion, which is in line with those that we did desktop research with. The second one is civic honours and subcommittee membership. That's in Table 2 in paragraph 4.3.1. To delete the Cabinet Member Finance and Corporate Services from the membership to say one other Cabinet Member. The rationale behind that is that the Cabinet Member Finance and Corporate Services no longer exists following annual council in May 2024 and May 2025. And the terms of reference for the Shareholders Committee, the Working Party considered that, and they have suggested a new wording for the terms of reference, which is contained in paragraph 4.4.2 of the report. I won't read it all out, but it's listed in the main body of the report. The Working Party also considered and recommends that all public meetings have a vice chair appointed with effect from the 2026-2027 municipal year. They felt that was to be included. And then the final recommendation of the Working Party is contained at 4.6 of the report, which in respect of call-in time scales. In Table 3, you can see on the left side the current wording, which is a short paragraph. The proposed new wording is on the right-hand column, and it details when the published notice will come into force if there isn't a call-in, which is on the expiry of 5 working days after the decision has been published, unless it's called in. And the recommendations are at paragraph 2.1 of the report.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Do we have any questions for Tracy? No? Okay. Thank you very much, Tracy. I shall move the recommendations at point 2 then for item 9. It be recommended Council the number of signatories required for motions on notice be amended to 1 councillor and a seconder. B, the Civic Honours Subcommittee membership list to be amended by removing the Cabinet member, Finance and Corporate Services, and replaced with 1 other Cabinet member as per Table 2 under 4.3.1 of the report. And C, the terms of reference for the Shareholder Committee be included as per 4.42 of the report. D, it being short, all public meetings have a vice chair appointed with effect from the 26-27 municipal year, as proposed in 451 of the report. And E, the wording under 4E.15 of the Constitution be amended as per Table 3 under 4.61 of the report. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Smith. Right, we shall move to the vote then. All those yes to the recommendations? So I believe that is unanimous. Thanks so much, colleagues. Thank you very much. So that's item number 9 done. Right, item number 10 is the pre-election period publicity protocol. And I think, is this Tracy again? Is that right? Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of the report is to make the committee aware of the pre-election period publicity protocol, which is detailed in the Constitution. That has been extracted and is attached at Appendix A to the report. I just really want to highlight that the pre-election period commences when the notice of election is published, and that's going to be published late on the 20th of March 2026, and that's when the pre-election period comes into force. The purpose of the pre-election period publicity protocol, it seeks to ensure that the council acts lawfully in relation to the use of council resources in the lead up to an election, and to provide guidance to councillors and officers, and to limit the council and committee meetings and other decision making which takes place during that pre-election period to those which are strictly necessary and business as usual. I'll highlight paragraph 4.7 of the report, which is extracted 5.3.8 advice to members from the Constitution, which details guidance in respect of publicity about all members involved directly in the election, whether as candidates or in some other capacity. And it goes on to highlight 5G.9 reactive publicity as well. It highlights what that is. And in the recommendations, the committee is asked to note the protocol, and that the monitoring officer will issue guidance to members and officers ahead of the pre-election period. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tracy. Do we have any questions for Tracy regarding item 10, the pre-election period publicity protocol? No? Okay. Thanks very much. Right, I shall move the recommendations that A, the publicity protocol guidance as extracted from the Constitution be noted, and B, guidance be issued by the monitoring officer on the publicity protocol to members and officers ahead of the pre-election period where requested by officers and members. I believe linked to this is that the 26th of February, is it, Tracy, when we're having the candidates and agents meeting? So yeah, that's 26th of February. Is that in here, is it, that meeting?
Chair, that's on T. It's on.
Oh, is it on Teams? Thank you. Oh, 4 o'clock on Teams. Thank you. Thanks so much, Tracy. Right, so I made those recommendations. Do I have a seconder for those recommendations? Thank you, Councillor Brown. Right, so all those in favour of item number 10, if you could say yes. Thank you very much. Well, raise your hands. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now move on to item 11, which is the review of the Council's Strategic Risk Register. So I'm handing over to, is it, thank you. Thanks very much, Vicky.
Thank you, Chair. This report is just a review of all of the strategic risks for the Council. They are reported to the specific OSPs, and they've all gone through for quarter 3. They're now here as a summary of the overall picture. If the committee itself has any queries or anything they wish to comment on regarding regarding the risks, I can take those away and feed them back in quarter 4. So it's more the opportunity for this committee to feed back any questions they've got. Thank you, Chair.
So, yeah, sorry, apologies, I just said at the start. Obviously, Matt is not here this evening. He sends his apologies because he's at St James's Palace. He's at St James's Palace. Has he actually met the King today? Has he? He might be meeting the King tonight at St James's Palace. So Vicky has presented his report to you. So apologies that he's not here. If you have any questions, though, I know Vicky's happy to take them away, and I imagine it'll be Matt that answers them. Is that right?
So any queries or questions you may have on the risks, we can feed those. It's more because they go to all the individual scrutiny panels. It's for the scrutiny panels to have a look at these and feed anything back to us. I'm not aware of anything that's been fed back at this point, but if the committee themselves do wish anything to be changed or any updates they require, we can feed that into the Q4 report. Thank you.
Do we have any questions now that we'd like to feed to Vicky that she can pass on? Yes, Mike.
Point. With the Renters' Rights Act coming into force, this seems likely to involve a greater demand for council housing because landlords will be less likely to take risks. So is this being considered at all?
Can I respond with that? Microphone's on.
Oh, sorry, Mike. Can you just
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, is it on? Okay, sorry. I can certainly feed that back to Dawn Dawson, who is the strategic lead, and ask her to feed back to the committee. That will be no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Do we have any other questions? No. Okay. So on item 11, review the council's strategic risk register. I'm moving the recommendations that the strategic risk register for third quarter 25-26 be noted. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Cooper. Right. So we'll move to the vote on those recommendations for item number 11. If you are in favour, please raise your hand. So I think that is. Okay, any abstentions? Anyone against? I think it might have been unanimous. I'm not sure. I don't think Councillor Hancock's indicated. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we'll say it was unanimous. I think it was unanimous. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I might have missed it. Maybe I missed it. Sorry. Right, so that's item 11 done. Thank you very much, folks. Item 12, government consultation, strengthening the standards and conduct framework for local authorities in England. And this Tracy, is it? Yeah, thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Chair. The report details the outcome of the consultation that the government did in regard to strengthening of the standards and conduct framework, which commenced on the 19th of December 2024 and closed on the 25th of February 2025. Recently, they published the outcome to that consultation. They received 2,092 responses to it. The proposals that were consulted on including the introduction of a mandatory minimum code of conduct for local authorities in England, a requirement that all principal authorities convene a formal standards committee to make decisions on the code of conduct breaches and publish the outcomes of all formal investigations, the introduction of the power for all local authorities to suspend councillors or mayors found in serious breach of their code of conduct and, as appropriate, interim suspensions for the most serious and complex cases that may involve police investigations, a new category of disqualifications for gross misconduct and those subject to a sanction of suspension of more than once in a 5-year period, and there's a role for a national body to deal with appeals. So after the government considered all the responses, it has proposed key measures which are detailed in paragraph 4.4 of the report. I'll just highlight them quickly. The introduction of a mandatory code, a requirement that all principal authorities convene a formal standards committee, the requirement to offer individual support during code of conduct investigations to both the complainant and the subject member, publication of allegations and investigation outcomes, requiring completion of investigations if an elected member stands down from their role, The introduction at a local authority level of a right for review for both the complainant and the subject member to have the case reassessed on the grounds that will be set out in legislation. Powers for authorities to suspend elected members for a maximum of 6 months for serious code of conduct breaches, with the option to withhold allowances during suspension for the most serious breaches. Introduce premises and facilities bans, either in addition or as a standalone sanction. Regarding serious allegations involving police investigations or where sentences is pending, the introduction of powers to suspend elected members on an interim basis for initial 3 month period, which could then be extended as required, and a new disqualification criterion for any elected member subject to a maximum period of suspension more than once in a 5-year period. For that to happen, government will lay legislation. We don't know when that's going to happen, so I will keep a watching eye and bring reports as and when to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Do we have any questions for Tracy regarding item 12? Yes, Councillor Hancox.
Not a question, Chair. It's just a statement, really. I think it's a move in the right direction, and it's been no doubt a source of frustration over the years when on the odd occasion when there's been a serious breach within this authority, that we've had very limited powers what we can do in regards to that person and what punishment they should get. So I think this is it's maybe not as far as we need it to go, but it's a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Hancox. I have to agree with what Councillor Hancox has said, actually. I think in some ways, in light of what we've heard in the last 24 hours in the news, shocking news, obviously not relating to local authorities, but relating to the government. I mean, what I've read in the last 24 hours, I wouldn't say I've been appalled and disgusted by what I've heard, actually. Lord Mandelson, not only has he disgraced himself and his party, he's also disgraced the government as well. And I'm really, really concerned by what I've heard and seen in the news, especially regarding Alistair Darling, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and the allegations there. Really, really serious stuff that needs to be properly investigated. I think I agree with Councillor Hancox. I don't need to get too political with this, but I think it's a step in the right direction, because I think ultimately all of us who hold ourselves to a high standard, I think all of us in this room hold ourselves to high standards. If we do that, then we expect everyone else to do the same. And it's about culture. I'm proud of the fact that since I've been chair of Audit, we haven't actually had that many complaints to deal with. And that's not because, things have been brushed under the carpet or anything, strange like that. It's because the culture has been much, much more positive in this chamber. I'm proud of that, actually. I think we've had a much, much healthier culture. And hopefully there have been fewer complaints, because people feel like their relationships with each other have been far more professional, more courteous and respectful. I hope people feel like that as well. But anyway, I'll leave it there. So I don't know if anyone else wants to ask Tracy a question. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Chair. My question is around register of interests, and another recent case is obviously the county councillor at Warwickshire, who was basically a slum landlord. But I know that those houses that he's in trouble for weren't actually on his register of interest. So I just want a clarification about what the scope of the register of interest should be for an authority like ours or Warwickshire, and would that be covered by this change at all?
Obviously, I can't comment on the Warwickshire case because that's not to do with this council. But obviously, on your register of interest, it's a form where you've got guidance, and any land that or property that councillors own, that should be detailed on the register of interest form.
That's within, is that any land or any land within the borough, for example?
Any land within the borough.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Do we have any other questions or comments to make regards item number 12? No, okay. Thank you very much. I shall move the recommendations at point 2 then of item 12 that the outcome of the government consultation strengthen the standards and conduct framework for local authorities in England be noted, and further reports be received by the Audit and Standards Committee when updates are available and legislation is passed. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Smith. Thank you, Councillor Fesvich. Can we all move to the vote on that then? All those in favour, if you could just raise your hands. I believe that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Right, so that's item number 12 done. Now, in terms of item number 13, we've got an extraordinary meeting of the Audit and Standards Committee on the 24th of February. I'm just going to quickly pass over to Vicky just to explain what that meeting's about. And what I've already spoken to Councillor Brown about this, but we'll let Vicky speak very quickly, and then I think if we agree to what we hope to on the 24th, then that's probably the best way to go about doing it. I think on the 24th.
Thank you, Chair. So on the 24th, it's for the statement of accounts for 24-25 to get those signed off by the auditors. I did say previously when the last statement of accounts came through that I would look to do some training with members or to talk them through the statements. So what we're looking to do is organise a meeting at 5 o'clock in the chamber to just talk through, not the full detail because it's over 100 pages, but just the key parts of the accounts that I think would be important for you to understand. Also to talk through the auditor's report so you can understand the things that are being raised, any issues that are being raised. And at that meeting also Anthony Baxter will be here, who is the Assistant Director for Digital and Business Change. He's going to be here for the purposes of last year we had some issues around the IT security. I think if you may recall, he's going to come and then just do some feedback on that as well to give members a bit more detail and some clarity. So that's what the intention is. So we're going to put that meeting in at 5 o'clock if members can make that. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky. Yeah, so I just said to Vicky on the 24th, and I don't know, Councillor Brown, if you want to speak, but yeah, I basically said 5 o'clock on the 24th, meet for the training before the meeting at 6, and that hopefully that would be enough time for us to go through the training that Vicky wants to talk to us about. And if people are happy with that, then we go ahead with that plan on the 24th. I don't know what other councillors think. Councillor Brown, I don't know what you think. Are you happy with that? 5 o'clock on the 24th of Feb? Yes, Councillor Fesvich, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to ask, will that training be open to members who aren't on the committee? Is that going to be open to all councillors? Just thinking in case somebody maybe wants to sub on in the future, will they be able to do the training as well, or is it just for committee members?
I was only going to send that out to the committee members because I felt that it's only the committee members that actually sign off the accounts, and it's the chair of Audit and Standards that signs the accounts. If other members wish to come, I've got no concerns with that. I can obviously talk them all through the statements. I will have already spoken to the leader as well about the statements of accounts anyway, so he's aware of that. And I will obviously catch up with the opposition leads as well, just to be certain that they're clear on everything. But I can quite happily open that up if more people want to come. Thank you.
Councillor Smith.
Sorry, could I propose to actually invite all councillors?
I'll second that, Chair.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If we want to say that Vicky invites everyone at 5 o'clock on the 24th February for the training, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy to move that recommendation. Do we want to take a vote on that? So, yeah, are we all happy with that? Yeah, we all happy? Yeah, brilliant. So, yeah, so Vicky, if it's okay with you, if you can send out that invite to everyone. So I think we're happy then with 5 o'clock on the 24th February. Is that okay? Yeah. Right, I will close the meeting there. Thanks very much for your participation tonight. And if I don't see you before, if I don't see you on the 12th, I'll see you on the 18th of February. Thanks very much. Thank you.